Welcome if you new. As y'all can see from the title below, this is glitch in the matrix type of stories. If you have any stories you would like read, any type of glitch in the matrix stories, anything you can't explain, email me. I can't talk right now, sorry. Email me, spookytyc@gmail.com. It could be your cousin experience, your grandmama, anybody, but I don't want no little made up experience where you sitting Indian style in your bed with your notepad like, what can I make up? I don't want that. If I wanted fiction, I'll go read a book. All right. Anyway, let's get right into the story, okay? I don't know what that was, but let's go. I grew up in North Texas, and one of my friends has a cow farm and a lot of land. The name of the street he was living on was his family's name. Me and my friends would go out there a lot on the weekends. We would bring a guitar and some tree and make a campfire and just hang out. One summer night, my friend asked if I wanted to go see a haunted house. He said it wasn't really haunted, but it was in the middle of nowhere and it was abandoned. He said he had driven by a few times on the route to his farm, but he never had a chance to explore, especially at nighttime. It was a lot of those times where he wanted to do so, but his first thought would be no. So I said yes. It was a cool, clear night. We piled into my friend's sedan and we were listening to some good old classic rock tunes and generally enjoying ourselves. We came to an area where we had to drive near a very old river, which was now a stream. There was a large plank of wood across the remainder of the stream that was eroded by the water, making it flat enough for us to drive across. Our friend reassured us that it was safe for a car, even though it looked like the angle was too steep to get a car across without breaking it or damaging it. By this point, the atmosphere had changed. We were no longer hanging out all fancy and free. A few of us were weirded out and started looking at our surroundings, looking outside the windows into the actual darkness, the looming trees and the moonlit grass. We held our breath as we crossed the stream. When we finally crossed it, there was a change in atmosphere. It was as if I could sense that we were getting closer to the house. No one has said a word for the past 10 minutes, other than my friend is giving us estimates of how much further till we get to the house. There was a dirt road that had naturally been formed from the cars passing by, but it was old and overgrown, and it hadn't been used probably for decades. Suddenly, I became aware of something that had been present for a good portion of this trip, but it had occurred so slowly that I hardly even noticed it. I broke the silence. Everything's in black and white. I can only see in black and white.
Why you always lying?
Everyone else in the car started to freak out. They could only see in black and white too. There was no color, just shades of black, like an old photo. Are we dead? I asked. I was convinced that we had died along the way, but not been aware that we were actually dead. It was like we were in a horror movie. I still have no explanation for this. When we finally pulled up to the house, the color returned and it seemed so dark still. The house was 2 stories and it was at a slight tilt. It was an old southern house with white pillars that had become discolored with age. 4 balconies just sitting under a 2nd-story window, and about 50 meters from the house was a large metallic silo. We got out the car and slowly began walking towards the house. In the front yard, there was lots of holes in the ground, freshly dug, all sizes to fit small potted plants. Inside the holes, we found crumpled up pieces of paper. On the paper were crude drawings, like a child's drawings. They were of people, stick figures. Some of the figures had been upside down or laying down. Some of the stick figures had faces, but they were all sad or yelling at something. Finally, we went into the house. All the doors were broken off of the hinges. The screen door was also partly torn. We went inside and we broke up into groups trying to explore the whole house. This is not Scooby-Doo. Why would you do that? We were all trying to seem brave, saying things like, I'm more afraid of the floor falling in. There was closets and we were holding our breath before we opened them, but we found nothing inside. The whole house was empty and dark. We had 1 flashlight, so there might have been parts that we missed, but we wanted to all get the hell out of there as quick as we came in. We all got back into the car quickly, but when we did, we dared one of our friends to go back in by themselves. He then said he would do it, and I couldn't believe it because I could have never done that. He walked off proudly towards the house, and we saw him go in the living room. Several minutes passed, and we thought he was messing with us, wanting us to come in after him so he could give us a scare. We started freaking out and honking the horn and flashing the headlights at the house. Our friend didn't come out. Finally, me and my other friend went in after him. When we got into the living room, we found him sitting on the floor, huddled over, with his back up against the wall and his arms wrapped around his knees and his head buried in his legs. He looked up at us as if we should run away, as if it was too late. When we told him to get off his ass so we could go and get the fuck out of here, he pointed to the wall behind us. The lights from the car were still on and they were flashing. Each time the headlights flashed into the house, we could see it. All of our names were written on the wall in red. Later that summer, a friend of mine went back to the house during the day and burned it down. That one is given like Stephen King. It's given like, you saw this in a movie. I don't know, but on one hand I'm thinking that, but on the other hand I'm like, it could happen. Like something like that, it could happen. Maybe, I don't know. That's not really a glitch in the matrix though, I feel like. I was biking around a neighborhood with some of my friends and we were going to a local pool for a swim. We picked up a case of 12 cream sodas and I tried to bike with them. I put them on my handlebars and of course, this was a terrible idea. As we got to the crosswalk, it falls over and breaks open and the cans fall everywhere. We managed to save coincidentally 9. There was 3 of us, so we each get 3. As we're biking, I'm paranoid of dropping them again. So I'm counting the ones that I'm holding and I noticed that I only have 2. I asked my friend to count theirs and they have 3. I'm a little pissed, but one less soda wasn't a big deal for me. I end up checking my pockets again and everything that I had and no cream soda. It must have fallen out. Now, as we park our bikes near a forest trail, I hop off my bike and I kick a can of soda. It was sitting near my foot and I didn't even hear it fall. It wasn't rolling down the slope or nothing. It was just sitting there perfectly. I asked either of my friends if they had dropped one of theirs, but they're still holding 3. I look at my hand and I still have 2. The mysterious cream soda had came out of nowhere. It vanished and then it returned by my foot when I stopped biking. I thought about this for a second and I wonder if I had put it where my water bottle holder was, but no. My water was still in its place. Now I feel like that's definitely a glitch in the matrix. Cause where did the soda go and how did it just reappear out of nowhere? What? I have 2 stories that are just weird as fuck. Both of them are things that I would not believe if someone else had told me them, but I swear with every fiber of my being that they happened to me. The first story happened a couple of years ago. I can't remember the occasion, but my mother and I had gone to A&W for lunch, and we were both sitting there eating our meals. We just so happened to be seated pretty close to the washroom doors, so I noticed everyone that went in and out. The first person to come out is an old man. He was kind of hobbling along. He was walking past and I glanced at him, then I went on eating my meal. Not 30 seconds later, another old man comes out of the same bathroom. At this point, I get a little freaked out because I realize it's the exact same person. Same face, same limp, clothing, and everything. A couple of minutes later, the same thing happens again, except it's an old woman this time. She comes out 30 seconds later, right out of the bathroom again. My mom took a look at me and said, "You look like you've seen a ghost." I kind of stuttered and wrote it off as me being crazy. That's definitely a glitch in the matrix. That's a glitch in assimilation. The next story is more weird in my opinion, and this is the single strangest occurrence I've ever had happen in my life. This happened to me when I was about 9 years old, but I can still remember it vividly. We were visiting our family in Nevada with my dad. They lived out in a very dry area. It was a fairly good sized trailer. A couple days in, I was playing outside with my cousin, pretty much just messing around in the dirt. At some point I look up. Right next to the house is a field, I guess, surrounded by a wire fence, probably originally for livestock. But anyway, there's a guy standing there. He looks to be a good 300 or more feet away, so I can't see him clearly at all. As soon as I look at this guy, I have what I can only explain to be a outer body experience. My body pretty much went into lockdown, and I was no longer seeing through my eyes. It was like I was in that man's body, looking through his eyes. I could see 2 little shapes playing across the field, but I could just feel that he saw these shapes as animals. Then I realized he was holding a shotgun. After that, I regained my body and blurted out, "We have to go indoors," offering no explanation to my cousin who just probably thought that I was nuts. I didn't explain it to anyone. I just didn't know how to express it in any other way back then. I've only seen and told my brothers, but I don't think they believe me. It still freaks me out today because it's the only time I've ever lost control of my body, and it was almost like a dream. But the whole thing was real and it happened in slow motion. Honestly, I don't think I've ever had one where I felt like I was looking through somebody else's eyes. Only just in a dream I've had that experience, and it was very vivid. But for him to be shooting something that far away, like, don't shotguns got that little thing, magnifying glass, where you can zoom in and see that it's actual children? Was he really about to take y'all down? So my dad used to get up around 3 a.m. every morning to get ready for work. Starting at a very early age, I would wake up on my own and wander downstairs to see him before he left. One morning, I was about 4 years old and I made it to the bottom of the stairs and I noticed that the front door was ajar. I opened it and I saw what looked like my father in his favorite work shirt, making his way down the driveway to his truck. His typical outfit, plaid shirt and Dickies. I swung the door open wide and I yelled for him to come back and give me a hug before he left. He slowly turned around and just stared at me. Then he started walking back towards the house. He was looking at me strangely to the point where it started to scare me and I began to cry, asking him what was wrong. Just as he almost reached me, a pair of arms grabbed me from the back in a bear hug. I turned my head to see my understandably freaked out father staring at this doppelganger in the same exact outfit. I look at what looked like my dad running down the driveway. Meanwhile, my dad yanked me back in the house and locked the door. That was the weirdest moment ever. Never did quite figure that one out. I would not even trust my 4-year-old memory with this event if it also wasn't witnessed by my father. He won't really talk about it these days, but has since told my mom. He called out of work that day and my mom spent the rest of that day reassuring him that he wasn't a nutcase. What would I do if I met my doppelganger? Like, it's giving us. Are they evil? Are they coming to like get us? Because like, why would he just stare at you all creepy like? Was his eyes all blacked out? I want more. I need more details. I like doppelganger stories. Ooh, maybe that should be the next video. When I was a sophomore in high school, there was a cute blonde girl in my history class that quite a few of the guys were interested in. There was nothing super unique about her. She was just fairly funny, cute, something like an average girl. Anyway, this girl was an exchange student from Germany. After several months of her being in our class, she simply stopped coming one day. It was odd. About a week or two had passed, but after that, I started to wonder what happened to her. I asked one of my friends if she had moved back home, but she said she had no idea who I was talking about. Soon after that, I came to realize no one had any idea who I was talking about. I still don't know if I dreamed the whole episode and maybe my subconscious is playing a trick on me, or if someone actually went missing from my history class and everyone spontaneously forgot who she was. Okay, that's crazy. Because I feel like stuff like that will happen. Like, what if she was a German spy and she Men in Black y'all, like, look into my lighter, click, you know, and wiped y'all memory away. She did to the whole class at one time. And stole your wallet and your house key. And your mama was mad at you because you lost your house key again. She had to change all the locks and get a new key. I don't know. Y'all know, you feel me? Like, I don't know about that. That was a glitch. That was a glitch. I have never been able to explain this one, and it still haunts me to this day. Not sure if it exactly fits as a glitch in the Matrix, but perhaps a past life of some sort. So I was about 5 years old at this time. My father and his girlfriend at the time took me to visit a theme park. While we were there, we were walking around and I seen a girl my age. I instantly recognized her. I didn't know her name and I didn't know where she was from. I just knew I knew her and I had missed her. I looked into her eyes and our eyes met. She instantly recognized me too. We both ran to each other and we embraced each other with a tight hug. It was like the cliche, reunited and it feels so good type of way. Then we started excitedly talking. I remember looking at our parents and they were talking to each other and shrugging and laughing. Like, what the fuck? Our parents allowed us to walk around with each other for a while and eventually ride the train. I remember when we rode the train, they let us sit in our own seats together in the front and we held hands. I remember eventually our parental units made us part ways, and the immense desire I had to not let her go. We hugged some more and went our separate ways. We never met again, not that I know of. Why they didn't switch numbers? Like, y'all could have been soulmates from another life, like best friend soulmates. This one says, either I'm dealing with some sort of memory loss or I'm dealing with a man from an alternate timeline. I started college this week and one of my classes is world religion. So on my first day of class, this guy walks in and he's 15 minutes late. He sits right next to me. During the break-in class, he smiles wide-eyed and said, "It's been a long time, how are you?" I have zero recollection of who he is, and he doesn't look or sound familiar. I don't usually tend to forget people, even if they only played a small role in my life. I asked him who he was and how he knew me. He told me his full name, still not ringing any bells, and he said he knew me from a private school called Homeland Village. He also mentioned names of other students that were there, and he wrapped up his story saying that we went to a Halloween party together once too. For one, I have never attended a private school, nor do I recognize any of the names that he mentioned from that school. I have never been to a Halloween party, and I don't even have more than 6 close friends. I was convinced that he had me confused with somebody else, but here's the kicker. He knows me by the name that I no longer go by, and he described me with having a very out there hairstyle that I hadn't had in years. What the actual fuck? I think I accidentally shifted timelines, and he knew an alternate version of me. The crazier part is I believe okay, so look, I do believe in alternate timelines. I think there are infinite timelines and your decisions put you on different paths every single day, if that makes sense. So I do believe in that. And I actually I actually think that I shifted timelines before. I'm not even gonna lie, because not even before, I mean a few times, not even like once, I think a few times. And here's why I really do believe that. It's because when I went to the psychic, the only psychic that I ever thought to be real, because everything she predicted for me pretty much happened. The thing that she told me was, I can't tell you too far into your future. You would have to come to me like almost monthly, because the decisions you make day to day affects your future like every day. So if somebody telling you 15 years from now this and that's going to happen, they most likely lying and scamming you for your money, unless it's like completely fate. I mean, written in the stars, like this one specific thing in your life is not going to change. They 9 times out of 10 they scamming you for your money though. I don't know, it just makes sense. Like, if you get it, you get it. One thing I'm not good at is explaining things, and it's because I can't ever put my words together for real, and I'm working on that. So yeah, just bear with me. And if you get it, you get it. And if you think I'm crazy, I'm like, girl, shut up, next story. I'm a girl, shut up, and next story. Okay. At 16 years old, I'm sitting in a circle of friends at a party. I'm stoned, and someone I had bad relations with threw a lighter at my head without warning from the side. I couldn't see it because of my long hair, but I caught it like a ninja. I slowly turned and stared at the thrower, who went pale. I said, never F with me again. I have no idea how I did that till this day. Another thing that happened is I'm sitting in a bar with some friends. We're laughing and joking, then pop! Something in my head felt like it popped, and I felt like my brain had reset itself for a split second. I talked to my other friends about it, and they said they have no idea what I was talking about. Then all of a sudden I said, Gary's here. I thought he was here for some reason. Then 20 seconds later, Gary walks into the bar. Still not sure what happened. I tell him about it later. He said he came because I called him. I checked my phone and I did not call him. He checks his phone again and has no record of the phone call. It was almost like somebody reversed time and fucked up some details of a memory wipe. My little sister, we'll call her Susie, and I were exploring cottages a few years ago. We came across a pair of walkie-talkies. Now, this itself wasn't an unusual thing, as the place was isolated, but a lot of families would come and go, leaving things behind. We're running around in the night and we're fooling around. Eventually, we're on opposite sides of the house when something felt like it was following us. This is how our exchange goes via walkie-talkie.
Breaker, breaker, come in, breaker. This is Thundercat, over.
My sister started giggling.
This is Dragon 7. We're closing in on your location, over, over. Negative, you'll never catch me, Thundercat, out.
My sister starts giggling again. Who is this? She says. I respond,
this is Thundercat. Come in, Pop Smith.
Susie's giggling some more and she says, no, who is this? At this point, I walk into the next room and I see Susie looking through a bookshelf, the walkie-talkie abandoned on the floor. And the giggling is still continuing to come from the walkie-talkie. I look at her and then I look at the walkie-talkie. I ask, wait, who is this? The giggling then stops on the other side of the line of the walkie-talkie, and there's nothing there but dead air. There's nothing but spooky woods surrounding us. I look at Susie and she says she got bored of the walkie-talkie a while ago. She denies being a part of any code-named conversation. We search the place from top to bottom and find nothing. Nothing could have been making that call. We try the walkie-talkies again a few more times, but we're never able to get the girl again. We now refer to her as Ghost Girl. I still accuse Susie to this day of having been the voice on the other side of the walkie-talkie. But deep down, I know that it wasn't her. What? Okay, so first of all, y'all playing around this weird house in an isolated area. That screams haunted house. I'm gonna go ahead and say that was Ghost Girl. Don't be blaming that on little Susie. That is not Susie.
Y'all know I'm always crooked, so let me go ahead and readjust my camera.
I don't think that was a glitch in the Matrix either. Could have been, but I'm gonna lean towards haunted house because that probably, that give haunted house. All right, but y'all already know the vibes. That's it for this video. I tried to make this video long. I had a lot of stories, but once I was like reading them, I cut them out. I cut out a lot of them because some were just dumb. This is why I need to proofread, because they just didn't make sense. They weren't glitches in the matrix, and it sounded like people were just bored, you know? So I cut out the ones that didn't make sense. Hopefully this video is still pretty a decent length. But anyway, y'all already know the vibes. Give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and hit that subscribe button, and I'm gonna get y'all some more glitch in the matrix stories on the way, okay? Y'all know the vibes. I love y'all so much, and I'm gonna see y'all in my next one. Bye.
Boo! Why you still here?